We're here today to interview and have a visit with Robert Jones, better known as Rob to all of us. Rob is now 100 years old and will soon be 101, I believe, this October. And he's lived a long life, and he's a World War II veteran, and probably the only one of two left living in the county. I think Mr. Cecil Jameson's still living, but if he is, it's probably just two left. Rob is unique in the fact that he fought at the Battle of The Bulge. And Rob, you were stationed at a lot of places, but you started out at 19 years, you registered at 18 years old, and then at 19 years old, you were drafted into the United States Army. Well, let's start with Rob's military career. He was shipped to Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia for induction, where most of the men around here went. And then from there he was shipped to Camp Shelby, Mississippi. And then from there to Camp Robertson, Arkansas. And let's see, you went to Texas after that, I believe, didn't you? And there was an incident happened in Texas with you and another soldier with a rattlesnake. Do you remember that, Rob?
Yeah, I do.
Would you tell us about that?
Well, we was on maneuvers in Camp WWII, Texas, out on that desert. And you know, there's no trees to speak of on a desert, just little saplings, maybe tall as that glass cabinet right up there. But anyway, we'd stop for lunch, me and my buddy. Was two of us stayed together all the time. And when we went to eat, I guess we had K rations, but there was a bush there, not any taller than I'm tall, but we used our helmets for pillars and got up next to the trunk of the tree and to take a rest after we eat. They hadn't called us back yet. And we were just laying there. Our heads had to be within 6 inches of each other. And we was laying there resting, both of us on our back, and I heard a little racket. And I looked, and there was a rattlesnake between us, running, easing out through there, and I told him, I said, don't move a muscle. I said, there's a rattlesnake right between us. And that snake went on out further enough we could get up and kill it then. But that's it. We just feel fortunate that we never got bit there. We done eat our lunch there and everything.
Wow.
That snake was in that little bush or whatever it was, you know.
Something you wouldn't expect in Army life, would you?
Yeah.
I believe there was another incident too involving a foxhole and a tank that...
Yeah, we was on maneuvers out in Camp WWII, Texas, out in the sand country, and they give us, it was easy digging, but they give us so much time to dig a foxhole, and then the tank was going to run over us. And boy, we went to digging, and when it went over me, it just filled it full of dirt and sand, just, you know, such a racket and jar. But the buddy next to me, he didn't get plumb through with his foxhole, and he was laying there, and his rifle was standing there back towards the tank, and he's sitting up here. That tank caught that rifle and squished him to death in that foxhole next to me.
Wow.
But I just remember that tank raised just so much dust and stuff when it went over, but you talk about getting low, I tried to get low as I could in that foxhole.
I'm sure there's a lot of bad memories that come back. From Texas then, maybe to Camp Robertson, and which is in Arkansas, and then from there I think you went to the East Coast for shipping out to Europe.
Yeah.
Sound right?
But let me tell you what happened when we went from Mississippi to Camp Robertson. Went on the train, and that's where I got those shoes I told you, you know, that I could make a step and the shoes wouldn't move. But anyway, when they called me off of that train, the very first one. And they called my name, and I said, here. And it was a second lieutenant with a sergeant there with him, and man, did that man chew me out. He said the next time, said, you're in the Army now. He said, when you see one of these right here, said, you'll say, sir. And he just, you know, he worked me over good.
Yeah, oh boy. Life in the Army is not fun, is it? And there, did you get seasick on your way to France?
One time, I was, I don't know how many floors down, maybe about 3, but we had to go up to the top to the dining room to eat. And I was on the stairways, moving slow, you know, and Reed, I got sick in my, just deathly sick in my stomach, and reached over the rails to vomit in our last soldier in the bunk there.
Wow.
And I swallowed it back and got over it, and never, that's the only time I ever got sick.
Oh, my goodness. Even sea rations too, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the ship then came in at Normandy, I understand, and maybe the way you got off of it onto LST was ropes, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, now, you know, you want me to tell you where we first landed when we got there? We got landed in England and went across England to load onto this boat that carried us across. And I think it was 240 GIs besides the crew that could get on it and go across. And what was it you want me to tell you now?
Well, I think you probably crawled over the side of the ship with ropes, with your backpack, rifle, and everything. Got into the LST.
Yeah. When I had to get off of the ship, was on in one of these LST boats, you know, I call them. And I weighed 137 pounds. Had everything that I had on my back, gun, rifle, ammunition, and everything. And when my weight shifted with all that on it, it was all in the world I could do to hold on. I didn't think I was going to for a minute, but I did. I had everything I had with me, rifle, ammunition, and all.
This is not long after the invasion of Normandy, so you were assigned to the 279th Combat Engineers.
Yeah.
And what was your job in that, in the engineering
Well,
ship?
to be honest with you, the way I look at it, we was attached to the 102nd Infantry Division, and it seemed to me like we was just doing a lot of their dirty work. You know, we built bridges in front of the lines and removed minefields and laid minefields. And now they're the ones that, of course, we set them across the Royal River on that night, you know, 3 engineers to a boat with 15 infantrymen. And we shoved off 2:30 in the morning. 0 weather.
Wow. But now you had probably worked your way across France, and it was getting late in 1944, getting up near Belgium, and the Battle of the Bulge was on the horizon, and I think it started December 16th of 44, and had to be cold winter weather up there.
They said it's the coldest winter they'd had in 37 years.
Wow. And foxholes?
Yeah, I stayed in the foxhole. I ate Christmas dinner in 44 in a foxhole.
Wow. Got your feet frozen too, I understand.
Yeah, the night we crossed the Royal River, I forgot how many trips I made. There's 3 engineers to one boat with, and it'd take 15 infantrymen across. and I got my feet wet first trip or two, and I really don't know how long it was till I could get to where I could go to the first aid that was down the hill there. But when my feet got wet and stayed wet 2 or 3 days and nights, and I didn't pull my boots off. And when I went down there, they had me to pull my boots off, and when I did, they made me get on a stretcher and said, don't get on your feet anymore. And they carried me back to France to a hospital. And I stayed there from the time they crossed the Rohr till they crossed the Rhine.
Yeah. And you crossed the Rhine at Remagen. The bridge is still standing.
Yeah. They had it detonated where it was going to blow it up, you know, before we could get there. But one of our soldiers found that and unhooked it or undone it some way, so we crossed on the bridge.
Yeah. Do you remember if you walked across it, rode a Jeep across it, or how you?
I think went in a GI truck. I think.
Truck.
Yeah, yeah.
Into Germany then for the first.
Yeah, yeah, and that German town. Do you remember the town where the bridge was, where we?
Remagen.
Well, they had bombed it till the streets just full of rubble, you know, and you just couldn't hardly walk down the streets. But there's still a lot of survivors there, you know, that survived it all, and you could get shot or grenade thrown at you or anything else. You couldn't hardly walk down the street. But we finally got control of everything within a few miles of that bridge.
And somewhere along about this time, you got a promotion to sergeant, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't remember just when it was. A lot of it I just can't remember, you know. I do remember that.
I think he was already a corporal about this time, and so promoted to sergeant. That's got a pretty good achievement. Oh boy! But anyhow, I know that 279 across the Rhine River there and into Germany, and then a little bit later on, y'all came upon a. I'm trying to think. There was a barn. There was like 1,000 prisoners put in that barn, and unfortunately was set.
Yeah, that's at Gardelegen in Germany.
Yeah.
Where they burnt those Jews, you know.
Yes.
And we got there. When we got there, they just got through. It's still smoking with the last bunch.
Terrible, terrible thing. But and then there, the war was pretty much winding down, and.
Well, no, it wasn't. It's a long ways from there to the Bulge.
Okay.
We had
actually the Bulge was, I think, was probably you went through that over on the other side of the Rhine, I think. But anyhow, it wasn't a very pleasant sight to see that barn.
No, and the smell nearly kill you.
Okay. So, anything else you'd like to tell about your experience in World War II?
Well, I do know this, during that Bulge, those German soldiers was attacking our tanks barehanded. If they could get a grenade over in that turret, is that what you call it? 9-man crew in that ship on that tank. It sprang that thing till you couldn't turn it, you know.
I see.
And there's a 9-man crew, and you peep over in there, they just look like crusts sitting in them seats, you know.
Boy. Seen pictures of both the Germans and our boys too with white sheets on. Did you wear a white sheet?
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 experiences of them white sheets. Yeah.
Blended in with the snow, didn't it?
Yeah. We had white sheets on 2 different occasions. They was called, we laid a minefield right at the German lines. And when we got there and got orientated by the people in charge there, we had to travel 10 or 5 or 15 miles in trucks before we got there. And while he was orientating us, he said he just felt like he was fired to tell us that there'd been 3 engineer outfits 3 nights in a row got killed trying to do what we was fixing to do.
Oh, my goodness.
And my job was carrying the mines up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you couldn't know if you seen somebody laying there whether it's them ready to cut your throat or some
Sure.
of the ones that got killed the night before or the night before that. But the thing of it is, we got to the top and I had a crew laying the minefield, and I told you my job was carrying the mines up there. And the most they done that night was throw up some flares.
Mm-hmm.
But when you'd see the ones that got killed the night before, you wouldn't know but what is a German laying there, you know. But I forget how many trips I made there with carrying those mines up there, and they throwed up those flares, but they didn't fire any shots.
Mm-hmm.
And our people is laying the minefields, laid it up so close to the Germans they could hear them talking.
Wow.
And the Germans just they said we'd been so consistent about wanting to come up there, they just decided to see what we was going to do. And when we left, they thought that we left that open for some purpose, so they come in and laid mines there.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think we lost any men there, Reed, that night. I don't believe we did. There was about 4 or 5 of us called to do that job along with the lieutenant to sit in that tent and not get any closer, you know.
Must have been a difficult job with snow on the ground and
Snow on the ground.
Mine weighs, I'd say several pounds. You'd have to carry the thing.
Yeah, they had handles that mines that I was carrying, you could carry 4.
Carry 4.
2 in each hand. And when they'd throw up a flare, I'd hit the ground, you know.
Yeah. You carry an M1?
Yeah. M1's what we had. That's all that I ever had, except I helped with a machine gun to shoot Bed Check Charlie.
Officers got to carry one on the hip, didn't he?
Yeah.
Something like. Oh, my sorry. Anyhow. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, Reed, I'd like to tell you a story about me standing guard one night.
I'd love to hear it.
We was in Gardelegen, Germany, which was 8 or 10 miles from where we was going to cross the Ruhr River. And this particular night, they had me on guard. We was sort of in a residential area, and the town was back behind us. But we guarded, you know, on the edge of town to try to keep them coming in there. Well, there's 2 incidents about that I want to tell you. I was standing guard, and this particular house that I was in had on white sheets and snow on the ground. The door was sort of offset back in the place. You stepped up on the porch, and there's room to stand there. And I was standing guard there, and I didn't hear a thing. And something knocked me just as flat as a flitter. I'm talking about flat.
Wow.
And of course, I went and reported it to my CP, and all they could ever figure out that it was a B-2 went over going to Germany. That's all they could ever figure out. Got it. But anyway, Gardelegen was a few miles, like as I told you, from where we was going to cross the road, and we put up there for a week maybe. And we had a machine gun on top of the hill there. There was one row of houses on this side and a sloping hill on the other side. And that bed check Charlie, that's their reconnaissance plane, he'd come over every night between sundown and dark. And he'd be so low, he knowed you couldn't shoot much for you hit your own soldiers. But I happened to be up there, and when he come over that night, that machine gun turned on every fifth bullet was a tracer, and it looked like a streak of fire. It got right on him, you know, and he went a little further off, went to smoke and went down.
Did you shoot him down?
I don't know.
You had the machine gun?
Yeah.
I bet you did. I bet you did. My goodness. Well, that's all a very courageous story. It is, and we thank you for your service. And like I said at the beginning, you're probably one of the last two World War II veterans in this county, maybe in surrounding counties too. I know your friend Ralph Rogers over in Benton County just passed away maybe this last summer, and he was a POW.
Yeah.
Just went through some real horrible situations, and
Reed, me and him was good friends, and we always had a little joke that we carried on. He got to be prisoner, you know. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, I was a better soldier than you. I said, I didn't get captured. You did. He said, you could just run faster than me. And during the Battle of the Bulge.
Tell me you're ready, Mike. Okay.
I was in a foxhole in the outskirts of the Bulge and got my Christmas dinner in '44 in that foxhole. And there was something else I was going to tell you. Read that, I can't think of what I was going to tell you, but there was something else to it. But you can cut that out if you want to.
If you think of it again, he can film it. He can film it.
Can you not think of any more questions? I can answer questions better than I can. I could tell them about that, where we was bivouacked there in Gardeleggen, about that tank sat in the second house from me.
Yeah, he'll film it. Tell him.
We made our home there in those buildings, you know, for a while, to wait to cross the Royal River. And the second building from us, there was a tank sitting in the yard on the far side of the house. And there was a road down the street run down through there, and that's where that hill was, where the machine gun was on top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And we had our windows boarded up and everything, you know, where lights wouldn't shine of a night or nothing. But one night, they throwed a bomb, I reckon it's a bomb, and hit that second house from us. Mm-hmm. Blowed all the boards off the windows, knocked us out of the bed the cot was on, and blowed that tank across the road up on the edge of the hill.
What an explosion. Wow.
And that sounds unreasonable, but I saw it myself.
Yeah.
And
lucky. Element of luck.
Oh boy, I was lucky.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, I think. And when you want me to tell you about when the war was over?
Yes, please do.
Our outfit was right on the Elbe River, 25 miles from Berlin. That's where we met the Russians. And that's where, you know, the war ended right there.
Linked up with the Russians and the war ended.
Yeah,
Yeah. And my goodness. At that time, I guess we thought that was war to end all wars, but unfortunately, not so.
Well, that's as I said, that was in 25 miles of Berlin. I never did get to Berlin, but I got close by, and the Russian soldiers come across the river to where we was there, and them and our officers there, they sort of shook hands and made a little speech. I don't remember what they said or nothing like that.
And we all know how General Patton felt about the Russians.
Yeah, he didn't like it.
He didn't like them.
And I don't see how anybody got there alive. Cause you had, them things was out, I'd guess 75 yards from the shore, you know.
Yeah, a lot of them drowned when they got off of the thing. The water hit the little one too deep. And
but that's the same way that we landed, right there.
Same way.
On Nomandy Beach.
And just look at the weight you were carrying around on you.
And that's where I was telling you where, when I went over that ship into one of these, I thought I was going to, you know, not be able to carry it and hold it, but I did. Got me some trucks and hauled lime about 3 or 4 years. And then after that, I got a job at TVA.
And farmed until he retired, and he and Mary Jo had a good life and raised 2 boys.